Hello, introduce yourself. Name Amelia Putri. Class AKT to 3A. NPM 23,411,027. Today I will explain about the influence of psychology in decision-making. Overview. In daily life as well as in the world of organizations, humans are always faced with situations to make decisions. In theory, decisions should be taken rationally, which is based on data, facts, and logical analysis. But in reality, this rarely happens purely. Decisions that a person takes are often influenced by the psychological condition that is being experienced. Thoughts, feelings, experiences, even pressure from the surrounding environment also shape a person's way of making choices. This is what makes the decision-making process unique and different for each individual. The role of psychology in the decision process. Psychology acts as a motor behind the scenes in every decision. When someone receives information, actually the information is not immediately processed objectively. The brain will filter, interpret, and adjust the information with previous experiences and beliefs. As a result, the resulting decision is not only the result of logic, but also the result of the way someone looks at the situation, the feeling that is being felt, past experience, hope for the future. For example, two managers can make different decisions even though they face the same problem. This happens because of the different psychological conditions of each individual. Relationship between emotion and decision. Emotions have a very strong influence in decision-making. When a person is in a certain emotional state, his way of thinking will also change. When someone feels angry, decisions tend to be taken quickly and without long consideration. Afraid, decisions become more cautious and even tend to avoid risks. Happy or confident, a person can become more courageous to take chances. This shows that emotions cannot be separated from the decision-making process. Even in professional situations, emotions still play an important role. The influence of mindset. In addition to emotions, mindsets also greatly affect decisions. A person with an open mindset will be more likely to accept new ideas and consider various alternatives. On the contrary, a person with a closed mindset tends to defend his own opinion without considering other points of view. This way of thinking is usually formed from education, area, life experience. For example, someone who is used to taking risks will be more daring to make big decisions than people who always play it safe. Experience as a basis for decision. Past experience is one of the most influential psychological factors. Someone often uses previous experience as a reference in making decisions. If the previous experience is successful, then a person tends to repeat the same decision. But if the experience fails, then he will be more careful or even avoid similar situations. The problem is, not all situations are the same. Relying on experience without considering current conditions can lead to errors in decision-making. Social and environmental pressure. Decision-making is also inseparable from the influence of the surrounding environment. In an organization, a person often has to consider the opinions of superiors, colleagues, and company culture. This pressure can be in the form of desire to be accepted in the group, afraid of being criticized or blamed, encouragement to follow the majority decision. As a result, the decisions taken do not always reflect personal thinking, but rather to the adjustment to the social environment. Errors in decision-making. Because it is influenced by psychological factors, humans often make mistakes in thinking called bias. This bias makes the decision unobjective. For example, too sure of my own opinion, just looking for information that supports belief. Influenced by the most memorable experience. This bias often occurs without realizing it, so it can reduce the quality of the decision. Impact in the world of organization. In organizations, the influence of psychology on decisions can have a big impact, such as mistakes in business strategy, conflict between employees, Team performance decline. Decisions that are detrimental to the company. But if managed well, psychological factors can also have a positive impact, such as increasing intuition, creativity, and speed in making decisions. Cover. From this explanation, it can be concluded that decision-making is never completely free from the influence of psychology. Humans are not completely rational creatures, so every decision is always influenced by emotions, experiences, mindsets, and the environment. Therefore, it is important for every individual, especially in organizations, to be aware of the existence of this psychological factor in order to be able to make wiser, more balanced, and non-harmful decisions.